Alright. Hardy tartar bitches, it's your boy, Deadhed the motherfucking zombie back up in this bitch. Haven't done a tier list in a while, and today I'm gonna be ranking the discography of one of my favorite bands of all fucking time, Mushroomhead. So I'll do a little something like this. Yep, I got all their studio albums and shit all right here. But yeah, so like let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, all 11 of their studio albums. I think they actually have like 9 or 10 because I did include Remix 2000 in there. But yeah, so um, y'all probably already know what tier lists are all about. I'm gonna rank each individual album based on my preference and my opinion. So, without further ado, open it back up like that. Alright, so the first one, actually, we're just gonna start chronologically correct. So, we're gonna go with the first album right here. So, they dropped this all the way back in 95. It couldn't be like full on commercially released because they had a shit ton of like old like film samples and shit, and it's very avant-garde and what's very experimental. But again, this was their first official project because Jim had started out as a side project for a bunch of other guys who were already in bands. Like, this was an interesting era for the band. I can't recall everybody who was in the band at the time. I know they had Denner, JJ Righteous, DJ Virus, Mr. Murder Nickel, who was the bassist, and who's also the brother of Sir Pig Venus. But I think he mainly played on this one, and I think he played some shit on Buick, and we'll cover that when we get to it. But as far as how I feel about the first album, let's start it off with see, does that sound right? Yeah. Yeah, because this was still a first draft, like a full-on experiment to what they would eventually become. So I think, honestly, having it at C, it's gonna be a high C, but we haven't got all the other shit ranked yet. So for now, it's just gonna stay where it's at. So. Alright, we're gonna go on to Super Buick. I think actually, yeah, right here. Super Buick. This one was a more kind of polished product as compared to the first album, but it's still rough around the edges. I think for the most part, it had most of the same guys on it. And as I said, Mr. Murder Nickel was on like songwriting credits as well as I think bass or guitar on this one. This is one of the reissues from their official merch site. So, yeah. But this album has my favorite song of all time, fucking Womp. Actually, Womp. It's also got hits that are slept on, like Idol Worship, Big Brother, fucking Flattened. The original version of Canker Sore Depending on the mood that I'm in, I sometimes prefer the original version. It's up on this, but easy for Super Buick. It has more of my actual favorite songs that has ever been made by the band. So we're gonna put them. Put this one. Why don't you say we have it in the B place for now? So the next one would be M3. So M3 was easily one of the more darker sounding albums. Right here, right here. I got the alternate cover version right here, and as well as the little collector's sack thing that they were doing. Had a few extra bucks and I said, fuck it. I'll give you a little gander if I can just open this bitch. There you go. Right here. There's the other. Well, this was like the main album cover. And then this one here is an alternate repress edition that they dropped not too long after that. And it was rare for a fucking while. Every time I'd see it, it'd be fucking expensive. Makes me mad as a bitch sometimes. But anyways, we're getting a little carried away here. So, the big hits on this album. Solitaire Unraveling. Fucking Xerox, I think. That's how you say that. Fuck it. I'm not gonna try to say it again. What else is on here? Born in Desire is another good one. Die, The New Cult King, The Final Act, Inevitable. This was one of their more eerie sounding albums. This was released, I think, between 98 and 99. Like, deep, when new metal was still, like, fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like, still fresh and growing. That album is also a lot of folks' favorite from the original trilogy run. Making it sound like a fucking movie, but y'all know what I'm trying to say, you know. The first 3 albums that Mushroomhead has released. And there's some sleeper hits on this one too. Like Exploiting Your Weakness, Conflict, The Argument Goes On, and The Final Act. Or even Inevitable. Like this project has more J-Man on it, and I think this was the first time they tried having 3 co-vocalists. What was that guy's name? Scott Edgell? Yeah, Scott Edgell. Right down there somewhere. Not gonna lay on the camera. Damn. But, dude, easy sauce. We're just gonna sweat this back over here. We are for sure putting this. This is an easy S tier. I don't give a shit. This is my personal favorite. Yeah, Super Buick had Blanc and Flattened, but M3 was a lot darker. A lot darker. It had more J-Man on it. Like, Jeff was still a part of it, but they had that Scott Edgell guy come in. And he's got one hell of a fucking voice. He's got one hell of a voice. Oh man, what if Scott Edgell chose to stay in the band? Oh boy, how long would he have stayed? How would fucking 13F sound? How would Double X have sounded? Oh god, the crazy one is just there alone. Don't mind me. I'm fucking nerding out over here. Okay, I am nerding out. So here, it's my favorite of the first 3 albums. Okay, so I think it was Rem 2, immediate C tier. I personally never was a huge stickler for remix albums, but The first, well, actually, I think this was more like the third ever Mushroomhead CD I got was Remix 2002, and I've slept on it for a while, but obviously it's a fucking remix album. It is what it says on the tin. But within like the last couple years, I've been like really digesting some of the shit on here. Actually, well, let's be fair. I've given the entire album like actual listens, and there's some shit I actually like on here. This is the repressing that they did not too long ago. So I love Everyone's Got One. It's a good track to get baked to. That's a goddamn fact. On Remix 2002, or is it on here too? There's a version of Bwomp called the Nord Mix. I think it was Remix 2002. Like it's a completely like redone version, re-recorded, remixed, pseudo remastered version of Bwomp, and it's like the full version too. That shit hits. That shit is really fucking good. So originally, if I had still been sleeping on this album, I'd have it in the D tier. But it's mid C tier. It's grown on me considerably. Actually, I like some of the remix tracks they have from the first albums on here too. Like I think it was Second Thoughts, the remix of Elevation. I think there was a version of 43 on there. That's okay, not on this version. Oh, there's like Snap the Gravy mix, Elevation Skin mix, and the Fuck Like Pigs mix for Second Thoughts. So I adjusted it a bit on the list. It's just above. Nah, I don't feel comfortable with that. There you go. We have the one, the only cult classic, Double X. I actually have two album. I do. I got the Eclipse version and one of the commercial versions that was released under Universal. There's the E version. There's the front tag right there, yeah. And then I got the more common commercial version right here. So the quick differences between the Eclipse version and a commercial version. Eclipse version, it was just songs that weren't remixed or remastered or tracks pulled from the first three albums and straight up just right on it as like I think it would be like a greatest hits collection or something like that. But this version had one exclusive track, and I think it was a piano keyboard piece from Schmatz, I think. It was called a Epiphany. I've used it in one of my more recent videos, but I'm obviously more of the re-recorded, remixed, and remastered version because it's got more tracks and added shit like Too Much Nothing. It's honestly got a bunch. Like this version is personally the more superior version. Like I've said, it was also the last album to have JJ Righteous even. Yeah. Like he's still credited. Can't remember if he's in the re-release. But Double X, I know this is gonna. These are re-recorded versions. So it's redone material, so I have to give it an A ranking. I might actually piss some people off. But also another thing that might piss folks off is the amount of my stuttering and probably some of my fucking breathing. Because I'm fat. Man, I'm not gonna apologize. I'm fat and I still smoke cigarettes. Trying to get off them though. Trying to get off them though. So I think with double X being an A, I think that's fair. But I think on top of that, 13 go just above it because I had the hard copy of 13, but I don't even remember where I had it last. It's been years. Their first actual debut major studio album. They were signed to fucking Universal. Um, like this was during the time where they were performing at Ozfest and shit. And this was the era of Mushroomhead that I got to see live. It was my first concert ever. I can't remember the fucking date or where it was, but I know that it happened because I get flashbacks to it all the time. It was such a crazy fucking show. I remember seeing some of the pits were getting a little wild and shit. It was just an all around fun time. I was short as shit. I had this fucking white that was huge on me because I was like 4, and it had it had this on it right there in like black Sharpie, and I was painting it up like J-Man. I had the pictures, but I don't know what the fuck happened to them. Still fucking salty about that. So 13, I think where it's at on the list is fair. High A tier. High A tier. I don't really think any of these are gonna go in all the way bottom of the D tier. But after 13, J-Man left because there was some family issues. I think it was his father was dealing with health or something. But I'm not trying to graze over that. A lot of the facts are from just random little nuggets of knowledge. Hell, I've done a school project on, when, you know what I'm saying? As if you couldn't tell by the fucking t-shirt. This little guy right here, oh yeah, he sold out pretty quick. I needed to get me some kind of charm that had Mushroomhead on it. But yeah, anyways, we need to move on to Save Your Sorrow. Now, growing up, one of the possessions that I had was a DVD copy of Mushroomhead 2 that was recorded during the Save Your Sorrow era. And that shit was funny. I remember those and shit, all the behind the antics of the band, the drama and shit. It was a fun time. Around that same time, the album itself. I think I bought the album the same day I bought the DVD. So this was also Waylon's first album with Mushroomhead. I think he joined in like 05 or some shit. Yeah, he joined back in 05. And I think it was like 06 or so when they started to record for Save Your Sorrow. And this album had a few big hits, like 1200, Burn, Save Us, Embrace the Ending. This quickly grew to be one of my personal favorite albums by these guys. But at the time, I was still, trying to, I guess, cope with the fact that J-Man wasn't. Shit, I think I was like 8, 9. I didn't get back into Mushroomhead because I had brief I wasn't listening to it as much of their music as I normally did. So let me think for a second. Yeah, I think I bought this album not too long before they put out Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children, and so getting that CD and the DVD all in one day, I had something to both watch while I actually sat down and absorbed the album. And I was also getting big into the Elder Scrolls at the time. I was playing a lot of Oblivion, a lot of Fallout 3, listening to Savior Sorrow. Like, dude, I'd go into fucking Raider Strongholds and just blast Burn or Erase the Doubt or 1200. I'm just mowing motherfuckers down and shit. Connected with this album. This album was a great experience, actually, like getting into it for the first time. Tracks that I really don't listen to much, like Tattoo, uh, Cut Me, even though I do like that one. You know, I like that one a bit more than Tattoo. There's not as much tracks to skip on here as there were like on the first album or even Super Buick. And the only shits I really skip on those albums is the interlude tracks. So all in all, I have to move. I'm gonna put Savior Sorrow right in the middle of A tier. There you go, right in the middle of A tier. That feels like it makes sense, actually. All right. So this next one, Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. While I was getting back into Mushroomhead, this was the first album that I actually got to see drop. You know, this is like a year after I fully gotten reinvested back in the Mushroomhead, and I fully accepted that Waylon was there to stay at the time, and that he was a perfect fit. You know, a perfect J-Man replacement, if you will. So, this album also has one of my favorite eras with their mask. Like, I love LD's mask. I love Jeffrey's mask. Gravy's mask was fucking sick. Schmatz is like, everybody had something cool. Even Waylon had. Kind of like a prototype of the mask he uses now for a Killer's Confession. And it's good shit. It's good shit. This is probably one of my top 3, if not my favorite Mushroomhead album, because I even dove into this album deeper, even deeper. Like, damn. The first day I got it, had this player, and I had just gotten, you know, a copy of Beautiful Stories, and I wore that poor CD player out playing this out, whatever other fucking CDs I had at the time. But this era of Mushroomhead was definitely a fun one. Hell, I remember the first time Joe's song "Come On," and another thing about this album is that I'm trying to think. There's like the odd tracks were the loud, aggressive tracks, and the even tracks were the more emotional, relatable tracks. And I thought that was awesome. But there was this other kid in my high school who also listened to it. He's like, I like the album, but how they keep flip flopping back and forth to that kind of off. I agree. I totally get that. I totally fucking get that. But this album, it's easy fucking S tier. It's fucking not talking about. It's easy fucking S tier. All the math I have with this Fucking awesome ass album. I'm gonna take this right here. All the way up here, right next to M3. Alright, so now we're on the Righteous and the Butterfly. So, Righteous and the Butterfly, I remember being fucking thirsty for new Mushroomhead. Because this was when they started, actually I was between Save Your Sorrow and Beautiful Stories, where they started dropping an album like every 4 fucking years or so. Because this album was dropped in 2014, and this one was fucking anticipated. Because in the years, like I'd say the last year or two going into getting ready to release the album and promoting it, like J-Man rejoined the fucking fray, and this album was a fucking juicy combination. Because you had Waylon, you had Jeffrey, and you had J-Man. And this album, see, off rep, I wanted to love it. I didn't hate it. Used to hear it being back and being part of it. I thought it was weird, but I did Tommy Church. They had Dr. F at this point being bass, and Tommy Church, that motherfucker was shredding. Like, it was just an interesting, juicy mix. Like, every song was like something of a new experience when I was actually getting into this album. And this album also has the first appearances of Miss Jackie Lapanza, and she's on off rip We Are the Truth. And that was, well, actually, QWERTY was the first single I heard, and I fucking loved it. It sounded really fucking old school Mushroomhead. It sounded old school as fuck. But it did take me a little longer than normal to fully digest the album. But all in all, let's give this one, we're gonna give this, we're gonna go high B tier. A Wonderful Life. Oy, oy, oy. Wonderful Life. The reason why I say that is because this was after Waylon had left, after Jeffrey had left the band. This was a weird new era for Mushroomhead. J-Man was still part of the action at the time. But this is when they brought in Rock, Mr. Rockhurst. And Miss Jackie was brought on full time as a year too. Miss would have liked, she's on a few songs, but I think this album was mainly made to showcase Rockhurst. Like, show us what he's capable of. And I loved him on most of the songs on this album. J-Man's J-Man. He does his thing. I don't need to say anything more. J-Man's the fucking dude. And then Miss Jackie, on the songs that she was on, she was the best part of these songs. Even when her and Rockhurst were going back and forth, or if you listen to The Heresy, that's one of my favorite songs off the album. This one probably took the longest for me to digest. Even with Call the Devil being part of all this shit, this album really took me a couple years to really sit down and process. I don't really care for some of the opera stuff on here. Like, nothing against the, I think it was like a church choir or something. Or just like a professional chorus group. I don't know. I don't know shit about that. But I didn't care for that. But like this one is like I actually thought about this tier list for a hot fucking minute. Off rip, we're gonna put this super below super viewer. We're gonna put it. Nah, that is a little harsh. We'll put it right there. We'll put it right there. I think that's a fair placement for it. Like, some of my favorite tracks were like Seeing It All. I love that song. The Heresy, Madness Within. Shit. Trying to think. Carry On is probably my favorite one on this album because it actually has J-Man rapping on it. I Am the One You Hate or something like that song's fucking tits. So I think I think that's, you know what, I don't want to change it. But now, here we are, the brand newest album. I just made a album review for this. It was posted before this video is going up. It is part of a little Mushroomhead October special idea. You know, and it's going to be interweaving music and lead stranger views through. But anyways, Call the Devil. This album, this one was an interesting experience because we lost J-Man again, and he was replaced with Scott Beck, who is a former vocalist for the band Ventana, which is another Mushroomhead related side project. I think it was. But this album is only 13 tracks. The problem with A Wonderful Life and what holds something I hold against it was that A Wonderful Life felt bloated in some parts. It just felt bloated sometimes. That's why it's one of the reasons why it took so long for me to get into it. There you go. I can English right. Good shit. This album is more straightforward. So this is the first album to have Scott Beck full on. Like I said in the review, he's kind of like the new J-Man. And look, it's really hard to not make that distinction considering he's doing the main screaming on him. Well, him and Rockhurst. But Miss Jackie is more featured on this album. Rockhurst is fucking nailing it. And Scott Beck, or Strike as he's also known as, he honestly is pretty fucking solid. I'm still gonna stand by that. And like, I really sat down and listened to this album. I listened to it at home, I listened to it at work and shit. Like, I really dived into this album. And honestly, I don't hate it. I didn't want to hate it going into it, you know, because I like to give new shit a chance. You know, I wanted to give this new lineup a chance. And honestly, it's not that it even has like flares of old Mushroomhead, like old school, like the first 3 albums type Mushroomhead. Sound like a burp, but no, that was a voice crack. Anyways, like there was a lot of effort, energy put into this album, and I'm not gonna act like it's not there. I have to be honest with myself. And also, this era, I love Everybody's Masks, but that's just a me thing. But to be honest with y'all, where would I put this? I want to give it its due diligence. If I can quit fucking stuttering, that'd be great. So I want to put it. I think that's a fair rating. Honestly, I think that's a fair rating. Like, I'm not trying to make a safe call or anything. I do still love the shit out of Super Buick and shit like that. I do still like Righteous and the Butterfly. but I have to give this album its due credit, okay? You know what I'm saying, man? But all in all, that was this was the second part of the I'm just gonna say Halloween season specials, or if you can call it that. Consider this one special, I guess. It's being done on Mushroomhead. I have to see if I got anything else to add. I don't, but thank you for watching. This album was fun to fucking. Jesus Christ, I'm tired of shit. Can't fucking English. Anyways, this video. I'm gonna keep all the fucking stupid takes. Fuck it. The only time I make videos this long is when either I got Juggalo Barber up in the video or it's a mega vlog or some shit. So, I appreciate y'all watching. I'm not changing my opinions. I think where I got everything here, all this right here, all that right there, that is honestly probably the best that I can do. So, with that being said, I appreciate y'all sitting here with me shooting the shit. I mean, I've been wanting to get back into making content for a while now. This kind of gave me a chance. So, with that being said, y'all, I'll see y'all probably after Halloween. Peace. Oh, shit. There you go.
Times and I've read